Welcome back to Timer Bowling Video Ball Reviews. Today we are testing a supposedly new technology from Storm called the Storm Level. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. First impressions, the level does feel like a strong urethane-like motion. The boon will be if it legitimately holds surface for a prolonged period of time. Right out of the gate, I'll just outright say I was impressed by the level. Normally, I'm pretty objective and I tell you what's happening, which I will do, but I figured my voice will probably not hide my subjective enjoyment of this ball. Anyway, getting into it, Storm creates this new cover stock technology called regenerative polymer matrix, or RPM solid in this case. If you want to know more about the technicals, Storm has several videos on it, but the idea is to give you that reliable urethane type reaction, but not actually using urethane. Motive has used what they call microcell polymer. In Motive's case, MCP absorbs oil slowly but faster than urethane. However, it typically lane shines quickly. The Duramax additive is supposed to help that, but anyway, back to Storm's new RPM. The idea is to absorb oil quickly like reactive, maintain surface finish like urethane, and give controlled motion of urethane. There will be someone who will measure oil absorption and actual surface finish out there, so you can look out for those videos, but visually it didn't look like it changed surface much at all over 10 games so far. As you probably noticed already, it definitely has the control urethane motion. It's very clearly stronger than the 78U, which is almost completely closed angle urethane type motion for me. That ball actually lane shines super quickly as well. The level has that early read with a very smooth, predictable transition and roll. It very clearly telegraphs what it's going to do. But the special thing for me so far is it hits pretty well with incremental moves to the right. So typically there's a wall for urethane balls where you get that one move that leads to buckets. Like you're going high and then all of a sudden you cannot open up. I had more incremental moves available to me with the level before that would happen. And as you can see, if I miss in, once I'm also in with my feet, that leads to a pretty soft hit. And obviously there's too much oil down the middle of the lane, but interestingly, I still had more carry in general with those kind of off and light hits. I don't know if this was lucky, or just more energy transfer. It doesn't really matter. It was fun to see. This is the first ball in a while that made the house shot here feel downright easy for me on the left side. With Tyler, you can see the same motion as you would expect, same behavior, but with a slightly rev dominant style, he gets more motion overall. Very control motion, no denying. It does give a bit more drive than the typical urethane, so it's definitely possible to leave 4 pins and 6 pins for the left side. You can see that as Tyler squares up, it drives harder. He continues to move right to kind of see how square he can get before he's in too much of that house shot wall friction. He finds that around, say, 12 of the hours. You can't go past that, right? The ball has an early, heavy roll, that you would expect from a big surface ball, given it's about 1,000 grit. But then it gives a reliable arcing back end motion. The thing I want to try to address is how patterns transition. I've said this before, transition or carry down, whatever you want to call it, is highly affected by any ball with low flare, as they tend to drag oil down lane. Doesn't matter what kind of surface finish. I think the level is no exception, and it is a very low diff core that will not flare much. So, we do see Tyler start to get a bit softer hit and having to square up more to get the ball to drive. For Brian, this was another eye-opener regarding the assessment of the storm level. Brian had a decent look up the second arrow. As you would expect, Brian had to stay in or pretty close to the dry to make sure he had the right motion, but I would say he wasn't much more square than he typically would be with a surface ball. In fact, he was probably a bit more square overall with the Zen 25, and we'll get to that video. I'd say Brian generally enjoyed testing the level as it offered something he typically doesn't see: decent reaction and carry from a urethane-like ball. It's a rare one that he would actually consider keeping around, but I would say generally speaking, he can control stronger balls, so no reason to not take advantage of those. Big picture, I think there is something to really mull over further with the level. It generally fits into that specialty category in my arsenal building. I feel like it's possibly a ball that I could personally keep in my bag for every sport pattern. On the left side, I always want something that I can keep in front of me to manage the lanes, and this is a step up from the purple hammer, which will likely make the level a little bit more usable for me. We'll see, time will tell. I think we'll have to do a longer term report card on this one. So far, so good. We're enjoying it, and we will catch you in the next video.